Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sarah. I'm a professional makeup artist and content creator, and today we are doing, yes, the infamous Kylie Makeup by Ariel look that is floating around TikTok. I keep seeing it everywhere. So pretty, and I'm hoping to break it down for you so you can recreate this look at home to include as many tips and tricks as I could possibly do. Also, we used almost drugstore / affordable products for the entire look. So if you want to see how I got this look, then keep on watching. So first things first, I'm going to go in with Maybelline Matte and Poreless Foundation. This is an awesome drugstore foundation, especially for a matte look. So I'm going to go in with a light layer. The trick is to not go in too heavy. We're going to put one layer and then kind of assess the coverage from there. I like to do face first, even for this type of look. I feel like we can get a really good base and we can sculpt and shape the face already before we even get to the eyes, and that will help so much with the look overall. Okay, next we're gonna go in with concealer, and I'm gonna use the Milani Perfect and Conceal Concealer. This is a really good drugstore concealer that's full coverage and it dries down pretty quickly, so we don't really have to wait for it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the face with the concealer. So I'm already starting to give the face some shape. Anywhere that I want to lift or brighten is where I'm going to place the concealer. Especially for a Kylie look, we want to really focus on the middle of the face. I love the Eco Tools sponge because it has this flat edge, so it just makes doing the angles easier. It kind of does a lot of the work for you. And the reason I put it so close in the nose is because we're kind of reverse contouring the nose. So that means we're going to sort of start pinching the nose with concealer. So the line that I'm lifting my face with is in line with my lower lash. And you want to make sure to use your lash line so the look fits your face shape. You don't want to just go aimlessly lifting the concealer. This is already giving the lift. This is going to be the direction of the eyeshadow as well. So this line right here is going to be a very important line, and we're going to use that a lot throughout the look. I'm going to put a little bit of concealer from the corner of my mouth up towards my cheek. I'm going to make the apples of my cheeks look a little bit more pronounced. It's going to make them look a little bit more cheeky. So I'm just using a brush to create this. So this is a reverse contour because we are putting it under a place that we would want like a shadow to appear. I want to make sure to blend that pretty well. So I'm going to go in with the sponge as well. Okay, and of course we're going to contour this face. It's just as important as concealing and highlighting the face. Kylie gets so much of her look from contour and highlighting. So I'm going to use this e.l.f. palette. It's a cream contour palette, and I'm really going to sculpt the face, guys. It's okay to be heavy with this step as long as we make sure we're blending the edges of it. And I'm going to go from the outside of the eye to the forehead. This is going to slim the face, but it's also going to lift the eye. This is really important, especially for the eyeshadow look. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the nose with an angled brush from BK Beauty, and I'm going to start at the eyebrow just to already enhance the lift by making a shadow right here on the inner corner of the nose, and just really make sure that this part is lifted with the contour. Okay, so we really want the cheeks to be pronounced with the contour, and it does get lost a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse contour, but I'm going to use foundation instead of concealer so it's not too harsh. So I'm going with a flat brush and the same foundation, and I'm going to create this line underneath. We just really want to snatch the cheeks. And I'm going to blend it out with a sponge. This just makes the cheeks look a little bit more prominent. It's like an illusion. Now I'm going to go ahead and set most of the face, but not the under eyes. I don't like this to set the under eyes just yet. I want to make sure that the concealer can kind of settle and I can get rid of any excess at a later point, or if we have any fallout, it's just a little bit easier to clean up underneath the eyes. but we have a nice sculpted face, and now I can really see the angles in my face. So I'm going to continue to use Drugstore for the face. This is e.l.f. Prime and Prep Pressed Powder, but what I'm going to do to get more coverage out of it is use a velour puff. These are life-changing, guys. So I'm just going to pick up some powder on there, and I'm going to start mattifying the parameters of the face. Wherever there's any cream contour, I'm going to go a little bit lighter there because I will be using powder contour to set that area. Okay, so this is the face lightly set. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of contour, powder contour, and this is also from e.l.f. This is their Primer Infused Forever Sun Kissed Bronzer. I love this stuff. I'm going to use another BK Beauty brush, and I'm just going to go over where we put the cream contour. I'm just going to lightly press this in. I'm not going to swipe because I don't want to move any of the placement that we've already set. If you plan on going out with this makeup, now is a great time to use some spray. I would use some Fix Plus, and this is just going to marry the products together and make the makeup more long lasting. Kylie has very groomed eyebrows. There's nothing really too much to them. So I'm going to use Wet n Wild Retractable Brow Pencil, and I'm just going to lightly fill mine in wherever they are a little bit sparse. Next, I have a little palette here, but if you don't have a palette, just use your hand or something you can put some makeup on. But this step is really important, and in these type of looks, especially these Kylie looks, I feel like everything is in the little details of the look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some concealer on this pan, and I'm going to come back to this concealer. I'm going to use it right now for under the eyebrows. She always has like an impeccable clean eyebrow, and we know that's because Makeup by Ariel, he's like obsessed with perfect brows. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up my brow, even though it is already clean, but we just want to redefine. Just very lightly using a flat brush. We don't need to use a lot of product, guys. And this is your magic wand. It's your finger. So I'm going to place the concealer, and then I'm going to rub it out with my finger. The warmth of the hand just blends it so easily. And we're just going to let that concealer hang out on that pan. It's going to dry down a little bit. It's going to do what it does, and it's going to be perfect when we need it later. Okay, the good thing about this look is I'm not using any gray eyeshadow. We can achieve this look using cool tone browns and some black. So there's no gray. Don't worry, this is good for beginners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this large fluffy brush from BK Beauty. I'll link the brushes down below too. And I'm going to take the Forever Sun Kissed Bronzer. I do this with every single eyeshadow look I do, but in this case it's especially important because it has to do with creating that shape on the outer edge, which is really important in this look. So what I'm going to do is tap, 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 almost like I'm setting the cream contour I did earlier. So I'm just going to tap it on in the same direction, and this is lifting the eye and creating shape. So remember, you always want to use your lower lash line as the guide. And then I'm going to go in the eyebrow too. If you're a beginner, you could do this look with some tape, but I'm not going to use tape because I'm going to show you another way that we can make sure it's very crisp and clean in the end without using tape. So we just always want to make sure we're aware of this line, and we're always using it as our guide. I think that starting with the lighter colors and moving our way up to darker colors, it's much easier for beginners. So if you're new to makeup, I hope this way helps you. I think starting with black is really intimidating, and it can get really messy and out of hand very quickly. So what I'm going to do is help you blend your way to the black. So once we get to black, we don't have to do that much blending. I'm going to go in with this one size palette. This is literally the perfect palette for this look. It has all the colors that I need. It has these cool tone colors, a black and a white. It's just such a good palette. So I'm going to go in with Taupe of My Game first. For this, we're going to want to use a medium-sized blending brush. The size of the brush and the type of brush really do matter in these type of looks, guys. And I'm going to start putting this in my crease, in the middle crease first, and then I'm going to bring it out to where I put the bronzer. So I'm gonna go over the areas that I put the bronzer, but the only difference is we're adding this to the mid crease now. And when I tell you we barely have to blend, we barely have to blend. And that's because of the bronzer. Go in the mid crease, and then I'm gonna take it onto the bronzer. I'm doing windshield wiper motions here in the mid crease. And then when I get to these areas, I'm doing circular motions in the same spot as the bronzer, just to really blend it into the bronzer or with the bronzer. Now we're gonna go in with an even smaller blending brush. It's also a dome shape. This is a blending brush, but it's much smaller. And I'm gonna go in with Brownie, which is the darkest brown in the palette. And I'm gonna focus this on the outer corner. And I'm gonna keep it on my lid space area when I first place it, because that's where I want the most concentrated color. You can pat it on where you want it. And then we're gonna do circular motions, very small, just to blend that color into the other two colors. And when we feel like everything is off the brush, this is when we're gonna take this opportunity to pull it out. This is where we start getting that shape for that blended liner look. At the edges, we're just gonna start pulling it out. And I'm also gonna place a little bit on the inner corner, just very lightly. Again, I'm keeping it on my eyelid as much as possible that I could fit. I don't want it to go too high. It's very subtle. We want to sweep it out pretty far. Hers goes pretty high. I'm going to use NYX's Epic Smoke Liner. This is for smoky liner, so it really is the perfect product for this look. I always suggest, if you're not used to using black eyeshadow or black eyeshadow intimidates you, go in with a blendable creamy black liner. It really helps so much, and since it's smaller, the placement is always better with this. You just have so much more control. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build the outer liner. I'm just gonna create a line, again, using my lower lash line, going towards the point of my eyebrow, a flat angled brush, and we're gonna diffuse it. So first I'm gonna go along it, and then I'm gonna grab the edge and kind of pull it up into the eyeshadow. You see how we kind of blended the black into the brown? And then I'm gonna just take it on the inner corner. This palette has black in it, and I'm gonna take the black on the same exact angled brush, and I'm just gonna tap it along the liner wherever we had the black. This brush has another end on it, and it's a small pencil brush, and I'm gonna use that to blend out the edges. We don't want it to be like a sharp liner. We want it to be blended into the outer corner of the eye. You have to set a pencil like that because it is creamy. It could move around, so you want to make sure that you set it with some eyeshadow. Remember the concealer we had on the palette? I'm gonna go ahead and use my flat brush again. Same thing I used under my eyebrows. I'm gonna take a small amount on the tip of the brush, and I'm gonna go ahead, since we didn't set underneath the eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and make that line super crispy and make sure it's headed in the angle that I want. I'm gonna draw a line, and then I'm gonna pull the product away from the eye, and we're gonna use our finger just so that isn't so harsh. Okay, this BK Beauty brush that I used earlier to cut the cheek, I'm also going to go into the concealer that's on the pan, and since it's dried a little bit, it's literally the perfect texture, guys. And we're just going to take a little bit, and we're going to put it on the center of the eye. And of course, I'm going to use my finger. Now I'm going to take another brush from BK Beauty. This is kind of like a fluffy, flat brush, and I'm going to take Manila Sands and mix it with a little bit of Suede Charm in the palette. I just don't want the white to be too white. I'm gonna hold it this way because it's the perfect width for my eye, and you want to hold it flat. This is a flat brush, and we are packing on the color on the lid. I'm gonna go back in with the NYX Epic Liner because Kylie does have liner on the bottom, but it's not a whole lower lash thing going on. It's just liner, kind of smudged. So I'm just going to take the same liner. After the mascara dried, I curled my eyelashes and I added some Ardell Demi Wispies. Now I'm going to go ahead and set underneath the eyes. I'm going to remove any excess concealer that has built up since we haven't set it. So I'm going to use Sephora Micro Smooth to just set We're gonna add some blush, and this is also from Sephora. This is their powder blush in Shame on You. And I'm just gonna focus this on the outer part of my cheek. She always has blush on her apples, and it goes pretty high, so I'm gonna use ColourPop. It's a little bit more pigmented and swirled. And what I'm gonna do is kind of put this under my eye and straight across, just to give that flushed look. She always has pretty like plump looking cheeks. You kind of smile when you do this. Now I'm gonna go in with some e.l.f. This is their Halo Glow powder in light pink. This is just gonna brighten because of the pinky undertone. Just taking a brush right away and just really pushing that into the skin. So I'm gonna use another Drugstore product. This is from Jonte Blue, and it's like a cool tone brown lip liner. Fill mine in. So I'm gonna go on the bottom. For the top lip, I'm gonna start on the outer corner and go in for a more rounded lip. For the lip color, I'm going in with Estee Lauder Double Wear Lip Liner in the shade. And the last thing I'm going to do to make the lips look a little bit more plump is I'm going to go back in with that concealer that we saved on the pan, and with my handy dandy finger, just in the center of the lip. Okay, and of course we have to add some bottom mascara. This is the tutorial. This is the Kylie look that's going around right now, and I hope you guys learned something. And as always, it's not going to be perfect the first time, so keep practicing. Really hope you guys can watch this video and do it at home.